The SEC literally wants you to be poor. They don't want you making money. They don't want you being a part of this space, and they want to try shaking you out as much as they possibly can. And in this video, I really want to outline the disgusting tactics that a government agency like the SEC, that is taxpayer funded, is doing to make sure that this is possible. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. I wanted to let the dust settle a little bit before I really kind of started talking about this because, now that we are roughly well over 24 hours after we got the announcement of the appeal, I really wanted to address a few things. Number one, let's start off with the $15 billion. This is ridiculous. $15 billion in damages. All right. The SEC was seeking $2 billion from Ripple. Okay. And what's funny about this is they caused $15 billion to small investors. We're not even talking about, big, large investors, institutional investors, enterprise investors. This is small time investors, retail investors, by the way, that the SEC vows to protect. We have to make sure that, retail is protected. We have to make sure that, the retail sector is taken care of. We don't want them losing their money, right? But they cost small investors $15 billion in losses. Guys, this is just upon the announcement of the XRP lawsuit, by the way. Like, if we go all the way back to December of 2020, just off the announcement, it was $15 billion in damages. We're not even talking about the legal fees, the taxpayer money. That's how big of a joke this agency actually is. And then to say, hey, we want $2 billion from you guys, from Ripple. How comical, right? But also, think about all of the companies that they have strong-armed into bankruptcy. Like Library. You guys remember this back in November of 2022? Yeah, Library had to go bankrupt, and ultimately the company was killed because of the legal and the SEC debts. I mean, this is the hard truth. A lot of these companies are getting squeezed of every single dime that they have through legal fees. And it is because of what the SEC is trying to do. And this is exactly what's been happening around Ripple and XRP. Yet, most of the space absolutely hates Ripple. They hate XRP. And it's funny because, this case is not just about XRP. It's not just about Ripple. It's about this entire space. What's happening right now, especially around the SEC, should piss everyone off. Especially if you do live in the US and you pay Gary Gensler. Because it's taxpayer funded. This entire clown show, this circus, has been taxpayer funded. Let's go over here. Because now we have some lawyers giving us a few updates. And this is the biggest one. Okay, this is like the big time update. It's giving us a timeline of what we have to literally sit through. For the XRP holders, here is the SEC versus Ripple appellate timeline. SEC brief likely due. This is December 2nd of this year. The SEC likely to seek permissible 30-day extension, so will be due shortly after, roughly January 1st, 2025. Ripple will cross appeal. Its opening brief will be due around the same time. The opposition briefs will be due around February 2nd. Ripple will likely take its extension, taking that to 3/2, March 2nd. Reply briefs will be due by the end of March of 2025. An oral argument will be scheduled for roughly, sometime around September to October of 2025. A ruling will be handed down from the Second Circuit in January of 2026 at the earliest. Likely March or April, though. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I have been talking about. The SEC wants to drag this case on for as long as they can, making sure that they're squeezing all the money they possibly can out of legal fees, trying to bankrupt Ripple, trying to kill XRP as a project as well, because, during this entire time, there's still that negative aura around XRP. There's still that, thought process of, is this case ever going to end? And then also, you got to remember all the held up adoption of XRP, because no institutional investor, no institution wants to touch, things that are not cleared by regulations. So as we do really kind of look at this, the big question is this something that an agency that is looking out for the retail sector, that actually wants to regulate this space, is this something an agency like that would do? Making this space wait well over a year plus, allowing the retail sector to invest into XRP as well during this entire time. Would an agency actually do that? That is here to protect the people, that wants to push, the space forward, that is pro-innovation? Absolutely not. Jeremy Hogan also said initial thoughts on the SEC appeal. Big mistake by the SEC. It will appeal the programmatic sales rolling, and if it wins, it will get more money from Ripple and have protected no one. Ripple will raise its blue sky law issue, and if it wins, the SEC's ability to regulate the entire crypto space is essentially destroyed. Not a good calculation of risk by the SEC. It would make a poor stock trader. This is an appeal by right, not like when the SEC tried to appeal before. The trial judge can't reject the appeal. The SEC is very, very likely to lose, both statistically and based on the fact-heavy way the judge wrote her opinion. Even if the SEC were to win on appeal, it is very, very likely just a matter of money. Nothing would change as to XRP and its use by Ripple. In a couple weeks, we'll know what issues the SEC is appealing, and then it must file its first brief by mid-December. It will not and cannot be appealing that XRP is not a security. Importantly, watch for whether the SEC is appealing the injunction. A ruling from the appellate court won't happen until late 2025, early 2026. I posted it would take until summer of 2025 a couple months ago. I was wrong about that. Sorry. I refuse to believe that Attorney Garral announcing he's leaving the SEC the same day the appeal is filed is just a chance, but I'm kooky like that. The only hope of all of this being over soon is if there's a new leadership at the SEC. If Trump becomes president again, I will humbly accept the role of director of enforcement and refocus the agency on protecting you from scams, frauds, and thieves. And listen, this is, I really do think that's basically like a no-win situation for the SEC. Like, sure, they might get paid, but this is doing nothing. This is why I say, the SEC is not here for protecting you or me. They don't care about the retail investor. Also, more on the Ripple appeal. Which big hitters will step up and file amicus briefs in support of Ripple? Will mainstream associations like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce step up to defend jobs and innovation in the U.S.? Which members of Congress will step up? Will Rep. Ritchie or Rokana organize a group of Dems to jointly submit an amicus brief for Ripple? Preparing an amicus brief for one individual is easy. It can take a lot more planning and process to get one done for an association or groups of people who have to sign off. Once the SEC files its statement of issues on appeal, I would expect the machinery to start cranking up on amicus briefs. So, listen, we'll most likely start to see some pretty big updates around this by the end of this year. The next couple months are definitely going to be interesting. But, one thing that I want to say about all of this is the timeline, okay? The SEC wants you poor. They don't want you making money. It's very clear. And I put out this post over on X. I said, look at the pattern of the SEC, especially in terms of their decision to appeal the Ripple XRP case. They waited for the perfect time to cause as much damage as possible to the retail investors behind XRP. Think about what happened leading up to the appeal. We had the stablecoin beginning to mint, which created a ton of demand, well over $1 billion plus in open interest surging, and then also the XRP ETF filing. And during this entire time, it felt as if XRP was unstoppable, because also we started to see a lot more adoption of the XRP ledger around tokenization. We saw the amendments, dropping every single day, big announcements all the time. And it was just really over the last, 6 months, 7 months that we saw all of this. So It was almost like XRP was unstoppable. But just the last 72 hours, we had the stablecoin beginning to mint, the ETF filing, open interest surging. And this was before the appeal. This was a strategic move to cause even more damage. Anyone actually viewing the SEC as an agency that is protecting investors at this point needs to check themselves. I think it's very clear. Even going back to December of 2020, right before altcoins went absolutely crazy, when the SEC dropped the lawsuit, they killed momentum at the perfect time and also caused $15 billion in damages to retail investors just upon the announcement of the lawsuit. I didn't even mention the taxpayer money lost, the $200 million in fines Ripple paid, and the hidden losses in deals, potential partnerships, expansions, etc. The SEC is not an agency for the people. It's an agency against the people and against innovation. The SEC should be 100% abolished. And listen, I have said it so many times on this channel. What we are going up against here is not, it's just a lawsuit against Ripple. This is all fine. Like, Ripple must have done something bad, like blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, sure. That could have been the argument back in 2020 or even the beginning of 2021. But after roughly, 4 years of complete nonsense back and forth, it's very clear that the SEC has been playing limbo this entire time, trying to cause and trying to milk the retail sector for as much money as possible, and also trying to, hold up innovation, try to, slow Ripple down, all while the incumbents are pushing forward. It's very clear that this is a political move. It's political. It's also a blatant power grab. It goes all the way back to Operation Choke Point 2.0 that I've talked about so many times. Caitlin Long is great when it comes to this because she has outlined how the Fed, the FDIC, every single agency around the government has a hand to play in all of this. And it's just crazy to me that at this point in time, more and more people are not outraged. We see a lot of people complaining about XRP and the price of XRP. But listen, this is not about XRP's performance. This is not about XRP itself. This is about a government agency acting rogue against this entire industry, trying to kill projects, trying to kill companies. And so far, it definitely has been successful in this. But also, remember what I've talked about when it comes to a lot of these retail damages. Go back to FTX, go back to Celsius, go back to Luna. Guys, while the SEC was going after legitimate players in this space, trying to shake them down, they let FTX walk right through their doors, walk right out with a green light, and they caused over $16 billion in damages. Why the hell is Gary Gensler still in his position? Why the hell does the SEC have any power over this industry? Why is the SEC still operating if retail investors in the US that are literally paying his paycheck are losing money? What is going on? This is why I'm furious. I'm pissed off when it comes to this case. And by the way, a lot of this definitely could be cleared up. Like, if Congress stepped in today and offered, complete, full, transparent, 100% clarity for this space, this would clear this case up immediately. This entire appeal by the SEC could get shut down immediately, as long as we actually get some clear, transparent rules. But I doubt that's going to happen as well, because Congress has also been dragging their feet. Because just like I said before with Operation Choke Point 2.0, it goes right up the food chain. They all have a hand to play in this. They don't want you here. They don't want you investing in, some of these great projects that have massive potential, endless possibilities to make you a ton of money. They don't want you touching them. Has anyone ever questioned why XRP? Why is XRP this outlier? Why is XRP constantly getting tossed down the stairs? There is something to look into when it comes to that. Why is the government so against XRP and so against Ripple? Have you ever questioned that? So with that being said, I'm going to leave it off there. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.